Welcome to the Christian Romance Podcast, where we go behind the books with inspiring Christian romance authors, exploring faith, love, and the journey that brings the story to life. I'm your host, Kelly Jo Wilson, and today we're chatting with Danielle Grandinetti. Danielle is an award-winning inspirational romance author fueled by tea, books, and the creative beauty of nature. Her stories combine romance, mystery, and suspense against the backdrop of the 1930s to tell the tale of finding home and hope in hard times. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode so you can hear more about our newest book giveaway that includes Danielle's book that we're chatting about today. Now, here's my conversation with Danielle. Hi, Danielle. I am so happy to have you on the Christian Romance Podcast today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I can't wait to hear more about you and for our listeners and readers to hear more about your background, especially because you have such a unique journey with words. I will say with
Indeed.
writing, with teaching, with communication. I cannot wait to hear more about you. Why don't you go ahead and just talk a little bit about your journey to becoming an author and just share a little bit about you, how you got there.
Sure. So I've always loved stories. Story in general has been my heartbeat since I was little itty bitty bitty. I actually came to know the Lord because of a story. So story has always been something really important to me. I wrote my first story that I remember in third grade when a author came to our school classroom. And our teacher had us all write a story because we just met an author. And I wrote my first story about a basketball going to space and meeting a star. I don't write fantasy, but I sure thought I was getting started with it, I think. From there on, my writing journey has been all sorts of upside down and backwards from what you think traditionally it should go. I started writing stories and submitting when you still had to send out the SASE and, print out your book and mail it in, but didn't get any takers. I know why from being, in those early years, my books weren't good. But of course, I thought they were. But then I joined the Jerry Jenkins Christian Writers Guild back in its original form and joined them after college and went through several years of mentoring, of learning the writing process. And it was fantastic. I learned so much, met some really wonderful people through that program. And I was part of the first craftsman, the third level class that they offered at the time. And just marvelous learning opportunity there. From that, so fun, little tidbit there, I was planning to be a missionary to Italy at the time. And Kelly, you had mentioned how the Lord kind of says, oh, actually, different way.
So he definitely does that.
He does. He closed that door. And the day he closed that door, the craftsman opportunity opened. And I walked through that door. And every time it has felt like the Lord closing one door, he opens another one, because that happened again later. So I took that course, continued submitting. So, lots of people were like, oh, I love your story, but it's not quite right. Love your story. Great writing. Not quite right. It's like, what do I do? So, in 2017 or so, right around then, 2017, 2018, 19, I started writing a story after a traumatic birth experience that I had. And it was a therapeutic thing for me. And then in 2020, before everything shut down, I had my second baby and realized I couldn't teach anymore. Like, it was too much to, I had two babies at home. Everything was all up in the air. I was already teaching online, but I could only do so much. And I felt like God saying, this season of life, it's time for you to put your 20-year career of teaching on hold for now. which was hard, that's a long career. But I'm like, I can't do it all. And right now, this is where I'm at. I don't know that the ink had dried on my resignation before an editor contacted me and said, "We want to publish your book."
Oh, that's amazing.
So I was like, "Okay, Lord, wait, what was that you said about can't do it all? Like, you were going to let me have a breather and, nope, that was not the case." So I signed with an editor. And as I was working with her, Denise Weimer, she writes fantastic historical romance as well. She love her books. I had this idea for a novella. And so I ran it past her, and the company she was working with at the time that first published my first traditional book didn't do novellas. So she's like, "I freelance edit. I will work with you on it." And we got permission, like the whole, marketing got permission, worked with me. So even though I indie published the bookend novellas for this traditional book, they worked on like connecting them on Amazon. Like it was really a great symbiotic kind of relationship there. And Denise ended up editing all 3 books, traditional. And then she was my freelance editor for the other 2. And that's how I got started in indie. From there, the Lord opened up. I got bit by the indie bug, I think, because of that. Like, it was fantastic. I enjoyed putting out my own books. And when things kind of went a different direction from that publishing company, and I just decided I'm going to indie publish my historical romances. Great. I loved it. I worked with Denise for a couple more books, and then I got my first contract with Love Inspired. And now with Love Inspired, I wrote originally with their sweet romance line. You don't need an agent to submit. So I still didn't have an agent, whereas most of the time you're supposed to get an agent and then work your way through the process. No agent. Signed with an editor. She was fantastic. She's not with Love Inspired anymore, but I've loved working with her, and then have worked with another 1 or 2 since then. But it wasn't until a year ago that, as I was working through, ended up the publishing world of things, that I ended up connecting with Lynette Eason, and she is now my agent. So I went completely, all sorts of twists and turns and how the process worked. And
and she's wonderful.
She's amazing. And I love her books too. She's another fantastic author. And so she's working on with me. We're putting together a submission and for LIS submission for to keep working with Harlequin. So, and the Love Inspired Lines. So I'm excited about that. So
that's awesome.
So lots of twists and turns in my journey, and I still have, multiple indie books in the works as well. So
yeah, that is so fun. I love that that God was like, "Nope, we're gonna make a left turn, but not a sharp left. We're just gonna turn left, and then we're gonna go immediately down this alley."
Right. It's like, okay, here we go.
I know. It's so fun. He can just do that. He picks us up and plants us where we need to be. And I love it. I am so excited for you that it has immediately, like, the rejections, because that's tough. Being an author, it's hard. You get rejection at some point, for sure.
Yep.
It's inevitable. And you're questioning yourself, especially when you're a new author. You're like, I can't, what am I'm trying to do this. Nobody's listening. And just for our listeners who may not know what SASE means,
yes.
because it's
thank you.
It's like
showing my age.
World. I knew exactly. I was like, oh girl, I did it too. Self-addressed stamped envelope. Okay. This is, yes, we actually had to print these books and mail them
in an envelope. And if you wanted a response,
an envelope, exactly,
in
an envelope, get a response.
You had to address the envelope back to yourself for them to send a response.
We don't do that anymore. Everything's electronic now.
I like that because
yeah, I do too. We're saving some trees. We're
Yes.
definitely saving trees. But why don't you talk a little bit about, so whenever you were teaching, you were, how did you start teaching? So why don't you tell
Yeah.
them? Talk about how you were a piano teacher.
So I was in college and I was a pianist, and had I not suffered a wrist injury, I may have actually gone music route, but again,
Oh,
God's directions. But I was just playing the piano one day, you know, college, it's a great, just slow down, I love the arts.
mm.
And the school I went to had a mix of unmarried, students and married students. And this one particular student, a fellow student of mine, heard me playing the piano, and he stops and he says, "My daughter has wanted to take piano lesson, or used to take piano lesson. She was like 13 at the time. Um, would you consider teaching?" I'm like, I've never, I mean, you know, teenager, you've worked with kids, but I've never actually taught piano lessons. I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, that's okay. Like, want to give it a try? I want to give it a try. Well, like, they worked with me to encourage me to start teaching. And before long, I ended up having almost a full studio of all these students, kids who all wanted to take lessons. And so I taught a
Oh,
couple days a week while I was in college, and found out I loved it. Like, it was fantastic. So when I left college, that was my job, and I had like 40 students at a time, like
oh
at
my
one
gosh,
time. Like,
that's a
it was
lot.
my, yeah, it was, but it was fantastic. I loved it. I learned so much about myself and working with kids, and I taught piano. I had as young as 5 and as old as adult. So I
Mm.
had a grandma who was like, "I'm paying for me and my grandchild to take lessons," and it was fantastic. It was fun and great. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah,
Did
and
you have a favorite like piece that you like to play on the piano?
I am a huge Mozart fan.
Mm.
If and I like Bach too, but Mozart was my favorite. I could sit and just play. I just loved all the notes. So many
Absolutely.
notes.
You know what's funny? Some people, have you ever heard this? Some authors listen to that, to Mozart specifically, and classical music while they're writing and while they're doing things. Have you ever done that, or have you ever
So
heard of that?
so I'm a math nerd, which is hilarious because most authors are, wait, math what? I'm a math nerd. Uh
Numbers?
I know. I love
No.
numbers. Like, I write, like, my spreadsheet is my plot device.
You
So,
know, I have to be honest, I kind of agree. I didn't realize that. I loved words. My old English teacher used to call me the thesaurus queen, but when I had to start making
numbers.
spreadsheets and do data stuff, I was
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, I kind of like it."
Uh-huh. Yep.
Ugh.
So what I learned was that piano unlocked my math brain.
Oh,
And so I did math better when I played piano. There's something in the way God made my brain, that art and music and then words, like that trio of things, just for some reason connect and
yeah.
click. So
Awesome.
I don't know. I can't explain it, but
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I've definitely
Mhm.
done that though. I've definitely
Yep.
listened to classical music too, like even while writing, because it's like if you put it on real low, it's supposed to help you
Hmm.
focus, because
Yeah.
it's very soothing. And so
Yep.
that doesn't surprise me. That's funny though about math.
Yes.
Of all things, it's like so
Yep.
opposite. My dad was also a musician and music teacher too, and
Yep.
he used to love it. I used to go with him. I was like little. He taught in this music store in a mall. I remember
Oh,
getting,
fun.
like, as a kid, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's right next to Baskin Robbins. I'm gonna get some ice cream. It's like the best. But you're changing people's lives. I mean, these
Yep.
people, you're like instilling this love of music and just this creative and this artistry. How did that translate into being like, how did you become the writing coach for middle school and
Yep.
high school kids?
So that was also a backed into it kind of thing. Yeah, you wonder how you get somewhere sometimes. So I was teaching piano full time, and was attending this church, and the homeschool friends with a couple of the homeschool moms, and they knew I was pursuing being a writer and had taken classes, and were like, "Have you ever thought about teaching writing before?" And I was like, again, well, okay, I'm a teacher. I like to write. Sure, I can.
Why not?
I can do this. They showed me the curriculum that they were thinking about using, and so like it was just handed to me. And from then I taught 2 years of classroom writing for them, and then connected with a program that coached writing. It was based on the curriculum. I liked the curriculum, and so I applied to actually be one of the coach tutors for the writing program online. And so I ended up both teaching piano and writing while I went to grad school. And that was my, it was 2 jobs, basically, it was a job and a half of writing while I went to grad school full time. But, I was single, not much else to do.
Oh my gosh. Single. It's like now
I know,
you look
there's
back
no
at
way.
single you and go, how was single you not doing everything in the world with the amount of time that you have?
I know.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
that's probably how I managed to work like 2 or 3 jobs and go to school full time.
Well, that's true. See, single you is working 2 jobs, single me was like sleeping on the couch half the day, like talking about being tired. Yes. I didn't even know. Single me didn't even know tired.
What really tired meant. Yes. But yeah, so I ended up teaching piano until I married and moved up to Wisconsin. So I taught a little over 10 years piano, and then teaching writing, because it was all online, moved with me. So that was also about 10 years, the overlap there. And then,
so how was it with these kids? How were they? So were they coming up with stories? Like, what are some of the fun stories, ideas that they gave you?
I have a couple. So one of my favorite classes, so I taught middle school and high school, and I discovered I loved working with middle school. Middle school is like my favorite age to work with. Both I volunteered in the youth group for junior high, and then these students that I had in middle school, I just love it. One of my favorite classes, workshops that I taught for them was description. And my writing, I'm not great at description. I say that with a caveat. I have to work on putting description in my books. I layer it in, and teaching it helped me become a better writer. So now I apply what I taught to myself. And now I love description and weaving it in and helping others increase their, descriptive writing aspects in fiction. But middle school boys and description is the pinnacle of amazing and hilarious and wonderful and gross.
And gross.
I was pregnant when I
love that you just threw that in there. So it's wonderful, but and gross.
Well, so I was pregnant with my first one, had horrible first little baby, and horrible morning sickness, and was reading this one assignment from this one middle school boy, and I almost had to pass it off to someone else because it was so vivid. It was making me nauseous. And I'm like, you get an A because you managed to give me a very physical reaction to your story. It's fantastic. I'm like, this is amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Good for him. I
know.
wonder if he went on to be a writer.
I hope so, because that was impressive.
It's so funny. Doesn't that just make your heart flutter to see kids have this just passion, right? For something that you love to do, especially even the piano, like playing the piano, writing, and seeing kids like get excited and glow with, this wonder, and just being able to guide them. God bless you so much for that, because it's so
I loved it.
Wonderful. It really is. I mean, you're helping to plant the seed of this creativity in them imagine a world without that, without creativity, without art, without music,
so
without words. Oh my gosh, I know. It'd be so boring. Yes. We'd all be so bored. So let's talk about, so you write mainly historical romance, but you do some suspense too, right? So what for Love Inspired, is it Love Inspired Suspense? Because that's what Lynette also
Yep,
does.
yep. So
Oh, okay.
I'm moving that way. She was the catalyst to get me to move that direction. So I just got permission to start working on. She has my initial proposal to submit. So now I just gotta, you
Wonderful.
know,
I mean, if
pray for
anybody
a
is going,
contract.
yes, for sure. But if anybody, I mean, what a wonderful coach and
Oh, I
agent to have is
yes,
her. I mean, she
yep,
is unbelievable. She's amazing.
mm-hmm, very much.
Especially, in the suspense. And
Yep,
I had her on the show too, and we
yeah,
were talking about how she just loves the justice. She loves to get
yes,
the justice. Sometimes, we're
yes,
in a world and it
yep.
seems like evil is just, and the bad guys are winning. And it's nice to read stories where they don't.
And not just they
They
don't, they
don't.
get what's coming
Yeah.
to them.
They get what's coming. Yeah, you see the justice, because we
Yep,
don't always do that, right? I
no.
feel like that's one of the hardest things,
Hmm.
especially like being Christian, knowing an eye for an eye is not the way.
Yes,
We have to be
right,
obedient and let all the consequences be handled by God, right? But
right.
it's very hard. And forgiveness, especially just, going through
Hmm.
difficult things, people doing difficult things to you, it's very hard to remember that.
And when
And
you do it right, hope that like the right will win in the end. And so being able to
yeah,
see within like the whole arc that, well, it did, just gives you so much hope that,
yeah.
okay, I'm on the right path here.
Yeah, totally. People always amaze me. And it's so inspiring to me to see people who are really, really hurt, especially like with the loss of a child or
Mm,
something like that, and how they can forgive,
I
have
know.
this like, I mean, it's Jesus. It's
Yeah.
not us. It's
Yeah.
not in us to do that.
Definitely.
It's only he can do that. I just saw a video clip of a serial killer who killed more people than I think like Ted Bundy and all of that, like this
Yeah.
massive serial killer who was like under the radar. He didn't he it was like sickening how many people's lives he took. And it was a clip of people getting up, like the families of the people
Yeah.
that they know of that he killed, and he just looked really like sad sitting there,
Yeah.
and I know it's kind of weird to say like the serial killer looks sad, but he just looked like a shell of a person
Right.
and just not there. And everybody was getting up and saying like, bad things to him, right? Things that we want to say, right?
Right.
To the person. I mean, imagine this, they killed your
Mm-hmm.
family member, your son, your daughter, something like that. So this guy gets up and says, I know that everyone is up here like saying these bad things, basically, but I'm going to tell you, I forgive you.
Hmm.
And the serial killer started crying. He got so overwhelmed
Wow.
because it just took that love, right? That's God's
Right.
love inside of him, because there's no other way
Right.
he killed his daughter. And there's no other way that happens. But it's always so amazing to me when that happens, because it's just God at work,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I don't even know, how did we get off on this tangent? I am so sorry. We're like, oh my gosh. But
Suspense.
anyway. Suspense. Yes. Talking
Suspense.
about, yes. Good for, see, this is what's happening. This is why I know what self-addressed stamped envelope means.
Yes.
Okay. This is the age
Uh-huh.
that this starts happening, Danielle.
So the other suspense author that I talk with about suspense and how much I love it is Natalie Walters. Um, Outstanding author. I love her stories, but we joke um, that the best way to fall in love is for our characters to fall in love is while running for their lives. And it doesn't matter if it's contemporary. For me, it's both contemporary and historical. Like, it doesn't matter when it happens. Just put these two in the most dangerous situation, and romance just sparkles.
Well, it does it pushes you,
It
right? Like it's
does.
pushing them to their limits.
It
They're going to do
does.
things out of their
And they
character, right?
find
Out of
out
the ordinary.
what matters most to them because they're
Mm-hmm.
about to risk it all. And are they willing to risk everything for this other person? And
Yeah. It's exciting.
hmm
I'm trying to branch out, Danielle.
uh-huh.
I am trying to get into some suspense,
hmm
and because I'm always been like a contemporary romance, Christian
hmm
romance reader. So this is the year
There you
I'm
go.
getting into suspense, and oh my gosh, it's so hard on my heart sometimes. How do you write this?
Oh, but it's
What do you
fun.
do? How can you do this? The ups and downs. I'm like, no, no. Like, I just read one of Susan May Warren's books, and I'm going, oh my gosh, if she kills this child, I can't finish this. It's like that. Oh,
I'm working
how
on
do you do it?
I'm working on so at the time of this recording, I'm writing the climactic, scene of a book that will release in September. So I was having a little too much fun thinking about what danger I can put my hero and heroine in, and um, there happened to be a mythical monster involved because this takes place on Loch Ness. So I'm
Oh,
just
cool.
like, yeah. So you guys will have to check out the book when it comes out. See what I did.
little dangling the little
Uh-huh.
treat. That sounds pretty
It is
interesting.
pretty fun. But yes, what a friend of mine was like, but you can't hurt Nessie. Well, or can I?
Maybe I can. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fun. See,
I
that
will
part is
say
fun
no
though.
animals are I do follow the love inspired and love inspired suspense of no animals are harmed in the writing of my books. So if that gives any hint on, whether mythical creatures also fall into that category. But they will definitely come into danger.
So why don't you talk a little bit about your Christmas book? So this is a novella, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about the Christmas book, The Neighbor and the Gifts?
Sounds like a plan. So I started writing this series. I was, I wouldn't say burnt out exactly, but close. And one Christmas, I was like, I just want to write a story for me, just for the fun of it. And if I have fun with it, my readers will hopefully have fun with it. And it started as I was writing it, I realized that I also wanted to create a little backstory, short story that I offered as a Christmas gift. And the timing of the writing meant it made sense to release it for Christmas in July. And I loved that idea. I love Christmas in July. It's just, everyone is like ready for Christmas because it's so warm outside. And as an author, I didn't want the pressure of releasing a Christmas book when all the other Christmas books, because again, this project was meant to be fun. So that was a year ago. And I released the first book in the series, which is the back myself up here. First book is The Baby and the Guardian. And it was just I just wrote it just because it was fun. And I realized I loved it so much that I turned it into a series. So each July, I plan to release a short little novella that's just a fun Christmas romantic suspense set in the 1930s in the North Woods in Wisconsin, centered around this one particular cabin. And so this is year number 2. And this, I know, so it's fun. I plan 10 of these eventually. A decade of Christmas miracles set at this one little cabin. I have to write them all, but it's it's a personal just adventure for myself. And I really hope my readers will love just the joy of the holiday. I love Christmas and I love Christmas novellas, and so this is a gift to myself and my readers, and I hope everyone just enjoys it as much as I am enjoying writing it. This particular one, The Neighbor and the Gifts, as you can possibly guess with the term gifts, it is a play off of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Mm.
But here's the catch. The gifts aren't from the hero to the heroine. They're from a stalker to the heroine. Because again, I write suspense. So what better way to write suspense than to twist the 12 Days of Christmas, which was way too much fun.
Oh my gosh, I bet. It sounds like 12 Days of Christmas meets Seven. Did you ever
Yeah.
see the movie Seven when he's like giving the things and they
Yep.
get the, I don't know. Talk more about it though.
But it's Christmas.
So fun.
But it's Christmas.
Yeah, but it's
So
Christmas.
it's,
It is fun.
right. And it's, you got to make it to Christmas. And yet Christmas is the 12th day. So the 12th gift. So what's going to happen on Christmas? So you want Christmas in this countdown to Christmas. Well, yes, that's
Oh my gosh.
throw
Amazing.
in, because again, you have to make things difficult on your characters. I'm surprised my characters like me sometimes. I'm not sure they do. But I had to make it difficult because the hero couldn't be all, knight in shining armor, so I had him fall off a roof. So for a lot of the story, he's actually bedridden, which, hero can't really save the heroine if he can't get off his, he can't stand up. Or can he? You have to read the book to find out. But
That's very cool.
yes.
What about the heroine? Tell us a little bit about her.
So this was a fun one to write. I made her a librarian. Not just a librarian, but a very shy, reserved, stereotypical librarian who, when she's nervous, she either talks a bunch or makes really silly mistakes. So she has always helped the hero. They were schoolmates together, and she loves to read, or he can't read or struggles to read. But he makes her so nervous, she like runs away from him. She doesn't know how to communicate with him because she likes him, but the nerves just get the most of her. And so had to find a way to put them together, which having the hero fall off the roof helped, because then she can help him. And if she runs away, he can't chase her, but he also can't, get his food. So that helped.
He also can't get his food.
So,
oh my goodness.
And then throwing in a cantankerous grandfather who plays matchmaker was also very fun. So
that sounds very fun. I can't wait to
so.
see what these gifts are.
The first one is actually in the, I mentioned the first one in the summary, so I can tell you the first one. It is a taxidermied partridge. So imagine a reserved, shy librarian thinking she was opening a box of books and instead finding a dead animal in the box.
Oh my goodness.
Which just would be horrendous. Again.
Yes.
And finding out it's from her true love. So in my research, a little historical tidbit, the term stalker wasn't around in 1933. It was a different term. I never quite say it right because it's a Latin, meaning love obsessed. So aromaniac, I think. Eros maniac, something like that. So I use that. That's the psychological side of the bad guy. He doesn't get a point of view. It's just them understanding that it was actually a medical scientific diagnosis at the time.
Oh, that is really neat. An Eros maniac at Christmas, 12 days of Christmas, sending taxidermied birds. Oh my goodness, this poor girl.
Yep.
She's a ball of nerves, I'm sure.
Yes.
Throughout. She's taking care of this guy who's super cute and he falls off a roof. He can't move. And oh my gosh. And then she's getting these weird gifts. Oh my goodness. You got to give her a break. See, that's what I mean. Oh, suspense. I got to try. I love it, but I'm so don't be too hard on her.
But it's fun.
I know. It's so fun. It's so fun. Especially the readers that are listening are like, what are you talking about, Kelly? The suspense is amazing. You know what I mean?
I always tell, readers who are love romantic suspense, but are a little shy about reading a historical romance, they those readers often enjoy my stories because as much as it's set in the 1930s, there's enough. It's romantic suspense set in the 1930s, so it doesn't feel like a historical romance. It feels like a romantic suspense. But those who love the historical romance also get the danger of the suspense mixed in with their story. So it's like
Oh yeah.
a three-legged stool that I write.
Aw.
Mix the three together. You take one out, it falls over.
Well, it's really fun too, and I feel like
Hmm.
in the historical settings,
Yep.
because there was so many things done differently back then, and it was very much in every era, I feel like such a live or die situation with so many things, I mean, just, I'm a nurse, of course, so I have to go here, but
Yeah.
the infection, just infections and things, you're like, people, this is why I
Hmm.
think, I don't know for sure, but this is one of the reasons why baby, like the first birthday is such a big deal because it was so hard for so long. Kids would pass away quickly or soon, of childbirth or whatever, just there were just not antiseptics and
Yes.
antibiotics and all of that. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's so much. And also,
Hmm.
there's like Wild West things going on, and
Well,
like
that's what's
animals,
fascinating,
travel. It's just so hard. Everything
and
was so hard.
that's what's fascinating about the 1930s. So two aspects: the technological advances. So a lot of the medical advances happened
Hmm.
right around then. So depending on what angle you want to take as an author, you can have technological advances or you can keep them in what it feels like the late 1800s. So
Hmm.
you can play with what kind of setting you need for a story because it was so varied. But then you also have the desperation that's natural in the Great Depression, and
Hmm.
desperation and suspense just make things so much bigger. And so there's this natural feeding off of, you know, hopelessness. And but then because I write inspirational romance, um, and show Jesus in these stories, there
Hmm.
is a hope out of that desperation, and that is something that I hope my readers will see as the characters go through their varying faith journeys in the course of the stories.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. We are almost at time, Danielle.
Yeah.
So why don't you, is there, just in light of talking
Hmm.
about how Jesus is kind of
Hmm.
infused in your stories with that
That's a good
hope,
word.
is there, is there, oh my gosh, I do the same thing, girl. I love it. I'm always like, my husband will say some word that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that word.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, you're such a nerd. You know what I mean? I'm a writer, but I love it. Writers get it.
We do.
Okay. Yes, you're my people.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I love it. Um, no, but if because of that, just in light of
Hmm.
that, is there any particular verse that really
Hmm.
kind of speaks to you, or even that you use to kind of go alongside this book, the Neighbor and the Gifts book?
Yeah. So I have a verse that it's actually appeared in two books, I think, so far as the main verse. And that kind of made me realize that it's probably more my writing verse than tied to just one story. I think
Oh,
it ends up being the heartbeat in every story
hmm.
that I write. And I pulled it up before we started recording because I wanted to get it right. Even though it plays in my head, I want to be able to say it correctly without all the stumbles. It's from Micah 6:8, and it's He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. And the fact that I can mix with suspense justly and mercy as well,
Hmm.
with love mixed in, and just the humility we need as we walk with God and as my characters walk their faith journeys, whether they're very close to the Lord or struggling or whichever version of that it is. I just love showing that hope in the end of justice and mercy and the love of God.
Hmm. That's wonderful, Danielle. And it's
Thank you.
so needed. I feel like we
Mhm.
just need that so much.
Mhm.
Everybody deals with some kind of brokenness in their
Yeah,
life, and you
exactly.
see it more now than ever.
Mhm.
Especially, it's so crazy. You wouldn't think, like, with technology and so many ways to reach people, that so many people would feel so lonely. And it's just so needed. Thank
Exactly.
you for doing what you do. It's
I'm
just
grateful I have
wonderful.
the opportunity. I feel more like it's a gift that the Lord has asked me to be responsible to pursue.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, I love it,
Oh,
and I'm sure
thank
that
you.
you are a wonderful steward with this gift, and you are just reaching so many people. And I just think that it's just beautiful. Thank you so much
Thank
for writing
you.
stories like that, because we just need it so much. Even if I get a little bit of heart palpitations when I'm reading your stories, it's okay. I know that
There
good
will always be
prevails.
a happily I can promise there will always be a happily ever after. So,
Yes, wonderful, and that's good to know, and our
yes.
listeners are, I'm sure, happy to hear that too. Why don't you let
Mhm.
the readers listening know where they can best connect with you?
Sure. If you go to my website, you'll find everything you need there, from social media links to my newsletter sign up to I have an author shop where you can buy ebooks and paperbacks, which I ship. You can actually, the screen behind me, you can see my little shipping station. I sign the books right over there and send them to you. Um, so you can also get all my books on almost all my books on all the ebook paperback retailer library. I love libraries, so support your libraries. My books, most of them are in and this one will be in your library, Hoopla, or um, available for in print if you want to request it there as well. Anyway, my website has all of that for you and what you need. It is my name, DanielleGrandinetti.com. Grandinetti is completely phonetic, so you know, go back to I have little teacher in me. Just write it out the way it sounds, and you'll probably get it right.
Absolutely, or you can just go right now to the show notes, because I'm going to put the link in there.
Perfect.
No
That
worries.
works.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much,
Hmm.
Danielle. Thank you for the wonderful stories that you write, and just thank you for being here and sharing your
Oh,
story and your
my
heart with us
pleasure.
today.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for readers out there listening to us talk.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend, especially because we're celebrating Christmas in July all month long here on the podcast. To add a little extra cheer to your summer, I've teamed up with some fabulous Christian romance authors for a special giveaway featuring 5 heartwarming holiday reads, full of castles, cozy cabins, swoony heroes, and a whole lot of Christmas magic. Whether you're listening right when the episode drops or tuning in later, you can always enter the latest giveaway at christianromancepodcast.com. One winner will take home all 5 books. Just our little way of making your July a bit more merry and bright. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, keep your faith, share the love, and happy reading.